All right, guys. I know the message on the board today made it sound like the video was going to be there during the day, and that was my original intention, but some things obviously came up with the reason I was out. So, just so y'all know, it's in the evening. I'm just now being able to get around to doing this. So, I'll put this video up tonight, and we'll talk about stuff tomorrow if we need to. But hopefully, the yellow notes from the other day were pretty helpful. This is honestly is not that difficult of a thing. The only thing you need to remember right now is with regular trig, we are finding side links, just like we've been doing for about the past month or so. Okay? So in a general problem, you need to start from a specific angle. We did do this the other day on Friday when I was here. You know, they may have been labeled, letters, but it doesn't matter whether it's the angle measurement or a letter for the angle. Now, to solve for a missing side, you do need an actual angle measurement, though. So from that 72, as you can already kind of see on this version, this side over here is opposite. This, of course, is the hypotenuse, and down here is the adjacent. Now, you have to look for two things. You need one side that has a number, that's the adjacent with 6, and then one of your sides has to have a variable because you need to find it. Okay, so that's the hypotenuse. So whatever fraction we're using, you have to look for the one that it makes a fraction out of adjacent and hypotenuse. Now, adjacent over hypotenuse, that's going to be cosine. All right, you should have your notes, you have the formula charts, and you should start to memorize these. So what you're going to write is the cosine of 72. The angle always goes next to the trig name, and that's important for where we go next with this. Equals, and the fraction is the value of the adjacent over the value of the hypotenuse, which in this case we're looking for, so it's x. Okay, in the notes, this was at the bottom of the page. This is what happens when x is on the bottom of your fraction. And this is algebra, so there's two basic steps here that you need to follow. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to kind of move this over. We're going to multiply x to both sides because we always want to get out of this fraction. And so this x in the denominator over here is going to cancel with this x being multiplied there. All right, so those cancel. You're left with x times cosine 72 equals 6. Now, just like any algebra problem, if you want to get x by itself, and x is being multiplied times some value. Now understand, cosine of 72 represents a value. It's a decimal. It could be a fraction, whatever it is, but it represents a number. So you're just multiplying it times x, which means to get rid of it, you would divide by cosine of 72. Okay, so now over here that cancels. You're left with x, and you're simply going to divide cosine 72. So just as a little hint, anytime you set up the equation and x is on the bottom, you're going to wind up dividing the values. So in your calculator, probably want to make sure, of course, remember that your settings, the angle is set to degrees and not radians, otherwise you'll get wrong answers. You're simply going to do 6 divided by hit trig, choose cosine, COS, type in 72 into the parentheses and enter. And when you divide that, you get, this homework goes to the nearest tenth, and just for easy, to make it easy, I'll stick with that for now, 19.4. So that is the missing side, way over here, that you should get, okay? So really simple process, and actually x on the bottom is a little bit harder. It's not super harder. It's an extra step. Let me show you with number 2 what the easier one is. All right, so on number 2, once again, we're starting at the 73. I mean, generally, each problem should tell you what you're looking for, and they're going to give you at least one angle. If you have both, you can actually make the choice, right? But most of the problems we'll look at, they'll just give you one of the two non-90 degree angles to start with. Okay, so from this 73, like you can kind of see faded here, this opposite side over here, this long hypotenuse across from 90, and here's adjacent. So again, what's important? Where is the variable we're looking for? X, that's the adjacent side. Where is there an actual side length? 6, the hypotenuse. So Notice the opposite side has no value, so we don't use it, right? It's adjacent hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse is still cosine, so this is going to be cosine 73 equals the adjacent x over the hypotenuse 6. Now, x is on top, 6 is on the bottom. Anytime you want to get the fraction out of your equation, you multiply by what's on the bottom. When there's an x there, it's especially important because we need to get x out of the denominator. But with 6, it makes things easier because you're going to multiply by 6 here, multiply by 6 on the other side. The 6's cancel here, but then x will simply be 6 times cosine 73, and that's all you'd have to do. That would give you your answer. So 6 times trig, choose cosine, type in 73. 1.8 if you round it off. So 1.8 is x. And that's all we're doing, guys. I'm not going to go through every problem, but for each one, like you can just see number 4 here on the screen. Figure the angle you're starting at. Label the sides. Opposite is across. Hypotenuse is the long one across from 90. Adjacent means next to. And then you decide, okay, I have x at the opposite. The number length is on adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. For number 4, you would set up with tangent, because tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay? So this was the homework from a couple days ago, but hopefully that shows you how to do it. I know you had the bookwork today. I hope you did well. We'll go over this, and there'll be another video here in for me, it's just a second. That'll be on the site dealing with finding the area. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. Hope you all are doing well. See you all on Wednesday.